going on our YouTube? So I got a little carried away tonight. I just got that Tamiya Clodbuster with the tube work, and the body that it came with was pretty junk. Pretty much just cut, cracked, split, chopped, burnt, everything you could do to it to mess it up. It had been done to it. So I decided to chop and burn it and cut it some more. I've had this TA02, this Tamiya TA02, short wide, came with the Porsche Jägermeister body, fully loaded out, nice car, and I've never done anything with it. And I want to make a drift car out of it. I don't have any good drift tires at the moment, tires or wheels, but I love the look of the lowered pickup. So I've hacked this Clodbuster body up beyond recognition. And I've tried, you can see the fenders are kind of, this is the worst right here. I got a little carried away with the heat. I was using my propane torch. Try and widen the fenders out because these tires, even with narrow RC four-wheel drive, narrow 12mm hexes, still didn't fit underneath this Clodbuster body. And if you're new to all this, Clodbuster is the old Tamiya Chevy Squarebody. And the RC four-wheel drive K5 Blazer body is quite a bit bigger, which would have tucked these tires under perfectly, but the wheelbase, that would have been, this still looks like a short bed pickup, and with the Blazer body, it would have been way too short for just the Blazer wheelbase, which is still shorter than a short bed pickup. So the Clodbuster body is kind of a 12th scale, and the RC four-wheel drive body's a 10th or 8th scale, somewhere in between. So I took this Clodbuster body and I've hacked the, I think it was 16 or 18mm out of the front of the bed to shorten it. I mean, there was no bed floor left in it when I got it, so I just cut the sides off, hacked a little bit off of it, and now I'm looking at how I'm going to reattach it. I've already put the front body post on the TA02, and I've mounted or drilled holes for the body. And now I've got to look at reattaching the body. I couldn't widen the rear enough. I tried heat and prying on it to try and get these to flare out. You can kind of tell it's bowed a little bit. And just those wheels I'm using are Tamiya. They're the ones that came with the kit. They're 1.9s, and the rears have more offset and a wider tire as well. And it just wasn't jiving right. Even with the same width as the front, it just wasn't going to work with having to reattach the bed to the cab. So I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just messing around. This is a complete junk body. I've got a complete junk window for it. It's all scratched up. And, you know, maybe we could make something look kind of cool and actually get this TA02 out and drive it. So, in the process of arching the fenders here to fit these giant wide wheels, this was already cracked and I ate away too much of what was holding it still. So I'm going to look at doing some kind of cool hacked up kind of drift style zip ties and pop rivet kind of fix for it. So let's get started. I'm at now. I think I'm gonna rust the whole thing because I can. I made some aluminum mounts after I pop riveted the bed to the body. Made some aluminum mounts here. They mount to the shock tower. It kind of tucks the backside in a little bit. It's just going to be a straight up drift truck. I do still have to put some spacers in the front for the body mounts. Raise the front up a little bit so it can turn a little better. But yeah, so the next step, I'm going to go ahead and apply the iron paint to the entire body, over all the metal, all the pop rivets. You see that side, pop riveted the broken piece back to it. You know, it's just a basher. I'll probably throw my window in there once it gets all done. Might be on the lookout for a better grill, because this has the 4x4x4 later model Clodbuster grill, which really does not apply. So let's get some rust on this thing. Alright guys, so a little time's passed. I got 2 coats of my iron paint, my Metal Effects oxidizing iron paint on it, and I thought I'd try something new since this body was junk anyway and just making it worse. I was going to try to do some paint masking over the iron paint. So we're going to do the Activator with some flames and an RC Everyday logo masking off on it. And probably do two coats of that. Do one here, a minute, go eat, come back, do another one, and then let it set overnight. And then peel the masking off and do another coat. So even if it leaks under and stuff, it'll be a different shade of rust. This is some old, the flames are from an old Parma, I think it was Parma flame masking kit that I had a long time ago, and I've just never used because I don't ever paint Lexan. So yeah, so we'll get this done. This will take a couple days to dry and change colors and everything. I was disappointed. I went through the box and I was going to use this blower, but I'm missing the front piece. Got the back piece, top and the bottom, and then the upper section, but I don't have the front, so I'll probably just use this other one that I already had. It's already been weathered for now. It's original Clodbuster stuff. I'm not sure how far I'm going to take this. It depends on how well the finish comes out. I might go as far as cutting out the grill and putting some mesh in. I've considered doing like a roll bar in the back and attaching to the chassis to help strengthen the bed sides because they are pretty flimsy. But I don't know, maybe a tube bumper. Those drift cars have tube, like roll bar tube bumpers. We'll just have to see. And again, it just depends on how bad this paint job comes out. There's rust job. I'm just using it as a chance to do some experimenting, try some things I haven't tried before. Running a paintbrush. So let's get the Activator. Hopefully it's not clogged up. This might be enough to do a couple coats. I'm going to put this thing on the floor while I do it so I don't get the Activator all over my workshop because it will turn other things other colors. Alright guys, so it's been about 2 weeks. I did the iron paint and I activated it, and yeah, so it's been setting. It's gotten a lot darker since some of the pictures I put on Instagram, and I've changed the wheels and stuff around just playing with it. So yeah, the flames didn't come out very good. The masking on those didn't want to stick to the iron paint. It was a thin actual paint mask. The RC Everyday sticker was vinyl, and it actually worked out really well, even though the rust is kind of contrasting. But yeah, I'm not sure about my tire and wheel setup. I took the original Tamiya wheels off. They are staggered, and you know, I know it's not going to drift with these rubber tires. Obviously they're pretty grippy, but for now that's all I've got. Up front are some cheap plastic steel look wheels. They just look like old factory wheels, and they were rusted up. Now, maybe a little too much rust, I don't know. I may put something chrome back up front just to add some contrast to the rust. The back wheels are RC 4-drive 1.9 rally wheels, like you would see on a Blazer. They're 6-lug. It's got the chrome lip, the gray insert, the nice center cap. Those actually fit the wide Tamiya slicks pretty well. So I don't know. I may put something different back up front, but for now that's what we're gonna roll with. Yeah, the body mount's not great. It's gonna be kind of wonky and rub and adjust, but it's kind of, you know, I kind of like that. It's kind of just a beater drift truck. It's like somebody had a really cool drift chassis and just threw whatever crap body they had on it. The rivets and stuff, it was neat. They all rusted differently than the metal galvanized plates, and the pop rivets look different than everything else I painted. So it kind of stands out a little bit. So yeah, I wasn't digging the 4x4x4 Super Clod grill. So I picked up one of these Chevy grills off of Shapeways from Ratboy RC, and now we're going to add this to it. One thing, I do need to heat it and bend it a little bit so it has the point in the center. These kind of taper to the front. I also got this. This is for a Sakura D3 or D4 drift car. It's a crash bumper for the rear. I believe it's for the rear. And I thought about putting it on the rear of this, but it doesn't really fit at all. This was like 12 bucks. I just picked it up on a whim and thought I'd give it a shot. So we may see how it looks on the front. So I'm going to pull the front grille and valance off of this, and we'll start mocking up our new stuff and get it ready for paint. So just a little bit of heat. You can gets dangerous a little bit. I mean, this is a $30 print. I really didn't want to mess it up. You got a little smoke damage on the front. You could use other methods to do that, but that was the quickest and easiest. Just needs a slight bend. I'm having a little bit of fitment issue because the rust paint is so thick, the iron base paint. So I'm going to have to hit the edges with a little bit of sandpaper just to smooth it out so it fits into the notches where it's supposed to. I'm not exactly sure yet how I'm going to attach it. I think I most likely am just going to use my plastic weld and just goop it in here, because it doesn't have any mounts for the original setup. Kind of burned the back a little bit, but it's not a big deal because we're not going to see it. And look at the rest of the truck. So, but yeah, it's a vast improvement, because this body style, the grill that was on there is kind of a ugly one. Other than the 4x4, it's an ugly. It's like an early '80s, where I think it was '82 or '83, they switched. I may be wrong. From the '70s style that seemed like it had lower fenders and single headlights, and it went to the more perfectly rectangular grill with single headlights still and blinkers. And it wasn't until '83 or '84 or '85, somewhere in that area, that they went to this style. And this looks like a later '80s because it's got the different mesh in it and stuff. But yeah, it's just an ugly style with that style of headlight. This kit does come with 2 headlight buckets. Only 2. I'm not sure why that is. It looks like they're all the same size. So I'm not sure yet what I'm going to do with that. I mean, since this is just a beater body, I may not even put headlights in it. Might be cool to get a scale intercooler and mount behind it. So I'm going to do a little bit of light sanding on it and just kind of round off some of the edges because it is printed pretty square. And then I'm going to hit it with chrome paint, and then I'm going to come back and paint somehow the bars in the grill black, and then I'm going to rust it. And with that chrome paint, the way the rust looks is it looks like old chrome. It's really cool how it comes out. And yeah, so I think that's going to be a nice touch of detail on the front. So I'm going to get to sanding. While I'm waiting on the paint to dry for the grill, I put the Tamiya narrow wheels back on up front. I think it just needed contrast. These were too much similar to the body color. I like the way these look. The 1.9 wagon wheels from RC 4-wheel drive, but I already have changed these to a plus 5 or 6 hub, and they stick out way too far, which look kind of cool, but I'd have to raise the body up too high and all that. Or I could cut the front fenders and have them stick out. Now that's something I could do. But either way, I'm going to need some drift tires. And I have no idea. I've looked in the usual places I know to look. I can't find staggered sets. I can find with different offsets, and I'd have to buy 2 sets and mix and match. But I can't find a set of cool looking, just plain Jane drift wheels and tires that are like these. We've got standard width up front are about 26 mil wide, and the rears are 32, 33 wide. And for this truck, I need the wider on the back since we've cut the fenders for it to stick out. So if anybody knows any, post links in the comments and let me know. I'm looking for something. Also, mocking up the grill. When I did this before, this is an original Tamiya TA02 foam bumper. These were pretty hard to find. I think that cost me like 30 bucks. And I hacked it to clear the Clodbuster bumper. Hacked the foam in half, which I could have done a little bit cleaner. And I'm thinking I may leave the lower valance off because it just doesn't look right. On these trucks, the space underneath the grill wasn't this wide, and it just looked kind of funny to me, the big giant flat piece of rust up there. So I think I'm just going to put the grill in, and we're just going to rock it as is. I did a little bit of sanding under here, knocked the rust down some, and rounded the edges a little bit. I used some like 160 grit or something on the edge of the grill, and I went over it with like a real fine 400. Just trying to smooth it up. So we'll see. That chrome paint is very forgiving, so I think it'll be alright. But yeah, let me know what y'all think in the comments about the tires and wheels. I like these. These look like cheap, just plain steel wheels, and they fit the kind of thing. But I don't want to have to pull all these screws out, and then I've got to run these adapters. I have to find nuts for all the screws, and it's just tedious work just to see if I like it. So I'm going to leave it as is for now because it's not going to drift on these soft rubber tires anyway. But the rear body mounts are off, so it's all kind of floppy right now. But let's get back to painting. Alright guys, here it is. I finally figured out how to attach the bumper. I had to hack it up a little bit, and I used the original Tamiya bumper mounts. It won't be sturdy at all. It's pretty fragile, especially after I had to trim it. But it looks the part, and it kind of fits how I wanted. I had to trim the ends down a little bit, and it is a little crooked, so it's just part of it. There's not a straight panel on this truck, so it goes with it. I haven't put any headlights or anything in because this is a drift truck and there's no real need for it. I only had 2 light buckets that came with the Ratboy RC Grille, so I have to just leave them out for now. I can throw some Lexan behind it if I want later. Probably won't. It's not done. There's a few things I'm looking to add. I'm probably going to redo the rear body mounts. Not happy with how we'll just have to see how they hold up after a drive. They're probably going to sag and rub the tires, make the body rub the tires. But we'll cross that bridge when we get there. I did find the missing piece to the Clodbuster intake, or blower set up there. And I've weathered that all with the AK rust streaks and drilled some holes in the scoop so at least it goes somewhere instead of just having stickers or flat chrome there. and I like that. Sticks up a little higher, looks a little more menacing. The grill and the bumper I painted with my just regular old Rust-Oleum chrome paint, and I used my AK Rust Streaks. It kind of smears into the chrome. If you saw on Instagram the picture of the grill with the chrome paint, it had all kinds of lumps in it from where I'd sanded it and stuff like that, but once I start smearing on the Rust Streaks, it's like a varnish, and it kind of eats into the chrome, and it all smooths itself out real nice. So you get a neat effect, you get a kind of a rusty pipe look to it. Goes with the body, it adds a little contrast. Again, the same thing with the bumper. No primer, no prep on that at all. I just cut it down, made it mount, broke it, glued it, and then painted it chrome. Rust Streaks. It's not even dry yet. I've got chrome rust all over my fingers. But it's a basher. I don't really care. Like I said earlier, any ideas on some staggered drift tires and wheels? Post a link in the description, or the description. I'll post a link in the description. You post a link in the comments and let me know what you find, because they have to be wider in the back. That's mandatory with this, since I cut the fenders to clear it. The front ones are widened out. Can't get any wider up front, but I can go a whole lot wider in the back. I like it. I'm not worried about it. If I get outside and crack it, I'll just get some metal, drill some holes, pop rivet it back together, and keep smashing. Here's a look at the back. Those mounts, it's just metal bent and pop riveted in there, and it bolts to the upper shock mount on the chassis. It's kind of a pain to take the body on and off, because then your rear suspension's all loose and floppy. Just straighten that out. So yeah, I want to do some kind of cage, not really a full cage, but something that comes down from the top of the cab and helps support the bed to the chassis. But that's time and place for another video. I'm tired. Like I said, I've been working on this video for several weeks now, just slowly waiting on stuff. Had to wait on the grill and bumper from Shapeways to be printed, and that was a week after I'd already built it, so we're a little behind, but I like it. So anyways, guys, I appreciate you following along, and hope you enjoyed this build. Like I said, we're not done. I do have this sitting around, and I have been considering, if I can find the right tires and wheels, I've got this bad boy just hanging out with nothing to go in. Maybe we can melt some tires and sling some rust on this thing. But I'll see you guys in the next video. Be sure to follow along on Instagram and Facebook. It's RC Everyday. And thanks for watching.